Hey, sports fans! Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show coming at you on a special, what day is today? Wednesday, to discuss the opening night of the games. I got Combo with me as always, and we got a lot to talk about. So thanks for getting up with me, Combo. I guess it's me, I'm getting up. You're probably already up anyway on the East Coast, but here we are. What's happening? What'd you think?
Everything's good, Coach Nick. Just ran the hill, did my morning routine. I think this is definitely the earliest we've ever recorded. But I would say, I was asking you got to put out that Mikal Bridges jump shot video.
Yeah.
And you said you got to turn on your notifications. And then I looked. It was only like a few hours before, Coach Nick. I was out and about. I couldn't catch it. But yeah. I would say it was perfect timing because it didn't look that great last night either.
No, he actually did hit a couple at least. It wasn't 0 for 10, but it was 2 for 7.
It looked bad though, Coach Nick. It looked bad, and he wasn't confident. And I feel like the shooting, the lack of shooting, is leading to lack of confidence in other areas of his game now, which is really concerning.
We should talk about that right now because I didn't even get into that in the video. But if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It's actually doing very well. But I would love more views on it because it still applies. Even for I did Tatum in there. I did Kyle Anderson. So there's some interesting things that are happening that we could talk about with Tatum as well. But yeah, you could kind of tell everyone is talking about it. It's going to be a question they're going to ask him for a while. It's almost like when the trade rumors happen and everyone gets the weight of that on their backs. So I'm glad to see that he hit a couple at least. But yeah, it's the ball is getting way behind his head. I actually need to break that down. I'm in the middle of doing a video on this game, more focusing on the Celtics and their threes. But with Bridges, I feel like he might have hit one where the ball did not go completely over his head. And that's something because, again, when he was at his best, the ball stayed almost all the way in front of his face, playing the entire way through. And once he brings it back over the head, it's a lot harder. I do know that, even KD does that a little bit, but I show that in the video where KD doesn't get it nearly as high in the set point. It doesn't sit there for that long. It's very hard to generate power, right, when you have the ball over your head that high and pausing it that long.
Yeah, KD is a unique case when it comes to shooting. I wouldn't advise anybody to replicate what he does.
Right. That's true, too. I mean, he's so tall. And his arms, by the way, it's the same body type as Bridges, really long arms.
Even taller.
Yeah. And so it's like, there's an arm swing. So I showed Legler's thing in there where he's really concerned about the arm swing that kind of goes across. I mean, KD does that. So it's like there are guys that can kind of go across their body like that. I'm not so worried about that. We talk about for when you see Bridges do that, we're just worried about a way too high set point. And the problem is that, back when I was growing up and like when Legler was growing up and learning shooting, a high set point was the thing. We're all like, well, you can't get it. It'll get blocked if you shoot it too low. Seriously, we thought that. And then you realize that a lower set point actually gets the shot off quicker and better energy transfer. And so now
I think actually Steph Curry changed a lot of that.
Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah. I mean, Steve Nash probably helped too a little bit. I remember torturing a player in 2010, because he shot kind of like how Steve Nash did it. And then I went to a Lakers practice and I was watching Nash from as close as my screen is. So now it was that close, and he's shooting it like a little kid, right? Like Nash would get it almost like by his chin. Shoot it.
Kids have better energy transfer than some adults because of that.
Yeah,
it's just a natural motion. Yeah.
So then I realized, why am I torturing one of my players who's a really great shooter to raise the set point here or whatever? That was nonsense. So we all learn. It takes certain people longer, and then other people get sort of stuck in the dogma of what they learned when they were kids. And all I could say is, if you're going to teach methods and fundamentals and mechanics that are 50, 60, 70 years old, it's the same question I'd ask as would you want your doctor treating you like they did 70 years ago?
I wonder if one day we'll ask, why did we shoot jump shots with 2 feet?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. There you go. I mean, that's my other.
I mean, even I've been practicing it a lot. I'm not currently playing professionally anymore or anything like that, but I think my percentage is just as high off one leg than it is off two. And and I think anybody else could do the same if they worked on it.
I mean, if you don't know, you haven't been paying attention on my side, I'm obsessed with the one-legged three. And I think more and more people are going to be doing it because the momentum generated that way makes the shot so effortless.
Fluid. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like a runner basically from the 3-point line. And I have no reason to believe that it's any less effective once we get practicing with it. So we'll see. But other than that, let's talk about Tatum's shot because, So when I broke that down and we had Legler talking about the problems with Tatum's shot, and I kind of pushed back on what he thought was the issue. My whole issue was with Tatum's right shoulder kind of collapsing forward and then the elbow jutting out, and then it becomes a little awkward in the arm swing up. Now the dude has shot league average for his career, but it's been up and down, up and down. And I showed that too. Like he's had really good years and then sort of below average and really good, and that's my concern. But what do you think about his shooting last night?
I mean, I think he's not here for play, Coach Nick. I think he's playing no games this season. I think he's going for MVP. And I understand why. Like, I didn't think he was I thought there was a reason he didn't play. I mean, I thought like the fit wasn't as good as some of the other players on the court. He wasn't shooting the ball well at that time. But if I was him, I would have that same mentality. And I love it. I mean, Jaylen Brown looks like he's in even better shape.
Yeah.
And Tatum's jump shot does look a little bit different, and it looks better. And I think this is going to be probably his best season.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, certainly starting out 14 for 18 from the field, 8 for 11 from 3, 37 points. And the whole team, here's the thing. The basketball gods are very fickle, and they're very respectful of the game. And so when they tied the record, and they had 8 minutes or so or 7 minutes to break it, they just started just jacking up shots, and they missed all of them. I think they missed their last 10, something like that, right? So it ruined everything. The percentage was so high. I think they had, at halftime, I want to check. They didn't make that many threes in the second half, am I mistaken, right?
Well, they made some, but then they went away from the game plan and just tried to beat the record, and that's when everything went to.
Yeah. And and not that the game got close, it didn't matter. But at some point, when the basketball gods say you can't be screwing around like this, and like they were just jacking up threes. They were not good shots. So I'm just looking here. The first half, the Celtics shot 17 for 32, and then in the third quarter they made 9 for 13. So that got them to 17 and 9 is 26. So then in the fourth, they only hit one or two. Let's see here. They hit 3 for 16. But if you look at it, I'm sure it went, they missed a bunch of the last 10 in a row, something like that. But Jason Tatum, new shot. It's not really a new shot, like we said. Like that shoulder thing still happens, the elbow. But I've looked at it with the game frame by frame was that the arm swing up was quicker. So like they're getting closer to sort of figuring out those things.
Ball speed matters.
The bottom of the dip is faster. He likes to let it sit at the waist a little too long. But if it goes down up at that same speed, then I think the shoulder might stop collapsing, and then he'd really get something. But either way, a lot more arc. Did you notice that on his 3-pointers?
I did. It definitely looks a lot more fluid. I noticed Jaylen Brown did something interesting. Like he kind of fumbled the ball on a catch and shoot, kind of set it back near the hip. Like I feel like he's probably been working on something to keep the basketball closer to his body, because he kind of like reset like it was a drill and then knocked down a 3. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
I mean they both look really good in this game.
And for what it's worth, like keeping it close to the body thing, like I've actually had a lot of success getting it farther out from the body too, from other players. So there's interesting ways to be able to develop that speed of the dip if it has to be farther or closer in terms of radius from the body. But it made sense to me that when you were to speed up the upward arm swing, then your arc is probably going to get a lot higher because you are generating more power that way. And one other method to then control the distance of the shot is to add more arc, or else you're going to shoot it long.
Yeah. Also, ball speed matters because the ball gets to a point where it could get the energy from the legs.
Yes, exactly. You want, and that's all. It's the synchronization, right?
Sequencing, however you want to call it. Yeah, sequencing.
What part of the knee is straightening. And I don't want to give away all my secrets, but that's what we focus on. And I suppose if you've watched enough of my videos, you can piece it all together and probably get a pretty good sense of how I work with this. But either way, I do worry because I know he was hitting 55 degrees on some of those arcs. And I just worry that that's going to be tough to be consistent with over a season. It's really high. I mean, heck, the air conditioning can blow that ball out of the way when it gets to 55, 60. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He moonballed some of those.
Hopefully it doesn't get windy in the Garden.
That's right. And it could. It's those blustery winters in Boston. So, or someone opens a door somewhere, you never know. But it looked great that way. And don't forget, like the higher the arc, the bigger the target on the way down. That's certainly a physics thing. But at some point, you lose control of lose the control of the shot itself. So we'll keep an eye on that. But it looked amazing. And do you believe in like the hot hand and / the team hot hand where they all kind of,
Oh yeah.
get it at the same time?
Oh, 100%. Because I feel like at some points it feels like, I can't prove this, that the ball has energy, right? That
Mhm.
the ball is moving. You watch your teammate knock down a shot, that gives you energy. And then on top of that, as the lead starts to build, there's less and less pressure. So
Right.
it's like an avalanche.
Yeah, that's another great point. It's easier to shoot threes when you're up by 20 in the second quarter. Um,
And on the other end, it's easier to shoot threes when you're down like by 20 usually. Like, oh, what the hell? Like, I might as
yeah,
well just get this up. That's why some teams come back. There's just less pressure. There's less tightness when the score isn't close.
for sure. And the other problem you have is that if you're playing a team like that, they were so unconscious in the first half. It's like there really wasn't a lot. Well, we can talk about that in 1 second as far as defense, but when they get to be that unconscious, because even when you give up an open three, the expected field goal percentage is still less than 50. It's like 40, whatever it is, probably.
Say that again. Say that last part again.
Expected field, when you leave a guy wide open, he's only going to hit it 45% of the time, which is a
Right.
lot, but still, it's like, it's more than half that they should miss, but they weren't missing. The
Yeah,
only
yeah.
hope you have is to make a bunch of threes on your end. You need to be able to keep up if you want any hope to stay in that game. And you got a guy who, is really struggling. It's in his head. Bridges didn't look any different last night than we've shown in the video. And again, please go watch it.
He looked actually worse as an overall player.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the shot looked bad, but I didn't see those confidence issues in other parts of his game
yeah,
as much as I saw it last night. And this is going to be a huge story in New York
yeah.
because people like talking about jump shots, and it looks really funky. And even people growing up playing basketball, this doesn't happen to a lot of people where they catch the yips. Like all of a sudden their form gets crazy no matter what level you play. And
Yeah.
I said, like, it's starting to look like Bill Cartwright, and it's something that's really obvious in the eyes of New York. And hopefully he could get the right information and fix this.
Yeah, and I hope it wasn't like doing it on his own, like going rogue. But even still, if you have a guy that works with you, then they should go in there and be like, wait, let's do this. Let's not do what you're doing, and let's get back to what we did in 20.
And I said this yesterday. I don't think it's only that he changed his shot. It's somebody or himself not correcting the issues that he might come across over the course of time. And then it becomes worse and worse and worse. And you got to be able to diagnose those little things that aren't working and get back to what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to grab a little bit of the video from last night and show people what we're talking about. Should I just do that real quick? Now that I'm thinking about it, let's see here. Let's do a share screen. Let me see if I can find the window here. All right, so let's get to the point. Can you see this?
Yep.
All right, so let me get to the point here. So here is on the left is what we're doing. We're seeing this year, and on the right is from his best year in the bubble. Can we? I don't know how smooth this is going to be, but let's see if we can see it. How big is this on the screen share here? The full screen? Okay, cool. So you can see here now. First of all, can you see my arrow?
Yeah.
So this airspace is a lot greater than it is now. He brought it closer to his body here. Let's get a little like so there. This is kind of closer than what this is here. So even at his best shooting here, you saw the ball is even farther out from his body. That's okay. But here's the issue now: is look at the difference in height. I know it's a little bit grainy perhaps, but here is the head height. I like line them up. There's the ball here, and here's this ball here. It's about at least half to a ball length lower on his set point, and then it stays. Look, the ball is almost in front of his face the whole way. See that?
Bring it down a little bit. A little bit more. Yeah. See, there's no like. I feel like the ball speed was better then because he gets it there when the knees are still bent a little bit. You know what I mean? So he can push through.
Exactly. That's a good point too. And then watch, and then as the release goes, the ball is all the way out of his hand already.
Oh my God! Yeah,
still in his hand, still in his hand. Like it's so much slower because he's now hanging in the air for that. So that's a real severe problem that they need to fix. And I don't think it's even that hard. I think you could do something like that to work on rhythm. It might take a week or two, but especially if they can find a little section of the season where they have 2 days in a row off, or 3 days in a row, they might have one of those, then they could do it. But you got to have the right attention to detail, and you have to have the methods, right? You can't just tell him to do it. You got to be able to develop ways to unlock that and reprogram. And I know I've got ways that can do that to sort of disrupt what was normally the your normal what's ingrained in your mechanics already. So that's the question: is can they do that? It won't hurt because at this point it looks like he's on a target to shoot under 30% anyway.
Yeah, it's not looking good right now. And then with the New York media, I know KD said the New York media is no different, but I think the Knicks are a little bit different than the Nets. It could get crazy, man.
But any team he play on, because this has become a thing, and everyone's doing videos on it.
I mean, we still remember like Markelle Fultz, right? Like what happened. We still remember that. It's the same kind of thing. Ben Simmons never really had a jump shot, but we still think about like Ben Simmons' jump shot, Russell Westbrook's jump shot, and this goes right up that alley.
Absolutely. Now, the Celtics dropped a gauntlet. They're letting us know. I mean, the ball movement was amazing. But let's talk a little bit about how they were generating a lot of their threes. I think I expressed concern about Cat and his defense and how that's going to be an issue that Tibbs is going to be really upset with. I know we talked about it on Monday's show, and everything we talked about came true last night. They were generating their threes by attacking Cat and the drop pick and roll almost every time. It was sad to some degree. Cat would drop so low, and they would just then create an advantage and boom, 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 wide open three. Every time was related to him. Then he tries to come up really high, does a really bad hedge. They get right around him. They're forced to help one pass away. And then the Celtics are so good at finding the extra pass, finding the open man. They're willing to give the ball up. They don't care who's shooting it. They have shooters up and down the roster, right? I mean, if it's not Horford shooting or Drew shooting, they bring in Hauser, they bring in Pritchard.
When I watch Al Horford shoot, and I'm not saying this is the right statistics, when I watch him shoot, he's like 60-70%. Like when I watch him shoot, it's crazy.
Now Al Horford's got a funky shot himself, right?
Right. And a lot of the guys on the Celtics have really nice like shots, like Derek White and Drew Holiday. Like it's very fluid. Peyton Pritchard, Hauser. Like all these guys, but he's different. Yeah, he's
like a 3-motion shot, whatever. But he shoots them wide open because he's the guy that they have to.
He got the old school big man shot, right? Like more old bigs, yeah.
Right. Like so, and Horford went 3 for 5, and again, if you look at them, they're all open because he needs time to get that off. Now, by the way, but there are times when he can kind of get it off with guys near him and stuff. Because a lot of times when I'm worried about funky shots, like even Horford is. It's susceptible to a defender getting close and then throwing the whole thing off because it's so much going on. Al's actually gotten decent at being able to handle that kind of pressure too. But again, for the vast majority of his shots are just wide open because the other guys are collapsing everything, and then his man's got to help, and then boom, they find him. So they're so good at that like I don't know. Are the Celtics going to break the all-time record for wins this year?
I don't know. That's interesting. They're definitely going to break the 3-point record in one game at some point if this happened already in the first game.
Well, I know Steve Kerr wants to lead the league in 3-point frequency, and I don't think that they're going to be able to. I think the Celtics are, and they're going to. They had too many 3-point shooters. They have too much spacing.
Yeah, first of all, I mean the Warriors have Kyle Anderson, Kuminga, who's probably not the best 3-point shooter. They got some guys that can't just let it fly like the Celtics do,
Yeah,
and they don't. And they. And I don't even
on NBA.com that they have to update their stats because you can't get to this season yet.
And I don't think they're going to play as fast as Boston either, right? I don't think so.
Who? Warriors, they want to play fast for sure, but I mean, the Boston Celtics have probably even more talent across the board, and they play together longer. Like their focus, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get them to slow down anyway. So it'll be probably a little bit close in the pace department, but still, they're going to go faster. They're going to probably shoot more threes. I'm kind of curious. Let's see. The Celtics took 61 threes out of their 95 total shots. Now, that's not going to be – let me do that. 61 divided by 95 is 64%. So they're not going to do that because the highest we've ever seen is like 51, 52. So then the amount of your total shots are threes is the frequency. But I bet you they're going to get in the mid-50s. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And they're going to probably shoot a high percentage of those, and again, it's too bad. I mean, they really, to see them end up at 47.5% from three, which is amazing for a team. They were at like 57, 58, before they started trying to break the record. So let that be a lesson, I suppose. Just play the game, let the plays unfold, and then those shots will start to fall again. And don't forget, if you have a question you want us to answer, the best way to do that is by the super chat on the YouTube side. So head over there. It'll help us keep the show going. I really, really appreciate it. We'll put your name on the screen and give you a lot of hype. So don't forget that. And let's see here. So anything else we want to talk about with the game, the first game?
No, I want to hear your. I was actually doing a recording during the Lakers game, so I want to hear your thoughts on what you saw with the Lakers.
Well, I mean, we got Bronny and LeBron together.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome. And I actually loved LeBron's quote after because, he was talking about how he missed so much time with his son and now he could bring his son along with him to work. And I thought that was really awesome. Everybody loves bringing their son to work. I mean, everybody who's a dad. So I thought that was like an awesome quote. I didn't say it verbatim, but
Yeah.
being a dad, like it really made me feel like great about that quote.
Yeah. For LeBron, I'm sure it's wonderful. For Bronny, I don't know how wonderful it is, but he's out there. He didn't look bad, He was, and by the way, so what happens now is when they're out there together, we're just praying that like LeBron's got to give him a pass and assist a shot. That's really what we need now. And so they had it once where they ran a pick and roll, and Bronny spotted up and they hit him, and it was an open three, and he didn't make it, but it was like that kind of excitement. The entire crowd, everyone is just like, on pins and needles waiting for something like that to happen. LeBron had a dunk on a beautiful cut from the baseline, but Bronny was in the other baseline and he was cutting, and he could have given it up and then let Bronny dunk it because like the whole defense had collapsed. Now that would have been like, remember when they did that in Miami with Wade throwing the ball up and then looking and then LeBron's dunking behind him? It would have been a little bit like that, and that would have brought the house down. So maybe they can find something like that at some point before Bronny goes.
You think he'll get G League reps eventually?
Oh yeah, I think it might already happen. Like I think they did it to do it, and now he's going to go to G League, right? I think that's what's going to happen.
That's what I thought would happen, and that's what I thought would be best. And I hope he gets a lot of minutes there and kind of shows what he could do. But he's going to be an NBA player, in my opinion.
We'll see. I mean, it's a little bit rough because, like, as soon as he checked in, you could tell like, Anthony Edwards was like talking shit to him, right to excuse my language, to his face. Sorry, YouTube, I didn't mean to say that. You know what I mean? Like, so the people are gonna go at him. He's gonna.
I think the YouTube. I think the YouTube rule is excessive cursing. I think you're actually allowed to curse
that. But we'll see. But I think they're going to go at him, and it's going to be rough. It's like he'll have a target on his back for a while. So perhaps it might help to go to the G League and kind of then sneak back up there and then get in those games, and it won't be as much of a thing. But we'll see. But other than that, I mean, I got to tell you, the Lakers' defense was much more impressive than I thought than we had seen in the preseason. The Lakers' defense looked so bad. They were just not on the same page. They didn't know what was going on. Now the offense. In the very beginning, without LeBron and AD in the first preseason game, I did a video on that. And it was beautiful offense, 5 out, lots of cutting, lots of movement. As I thought, like we lost a lot of that, as they've played more, which is fine. Your better players, maybe they don't need to be cutting and moving like that as a 5-man unit because they can already create their own gravity. But they just look pretty tough. And I think it also could be a reflection on the Timberwolves being a completely different team this year. And that might not be good.
Yeah, it's one game. It's interesting to see Julius Randle playing that big man center role in the back line with Rudy. We also had our question answered about the starting lineup, which none of us predicted, Coach Nick. Naz Reid actually didn't start.
Wait, he did? Wait, hang on. I watched this game. Naz Reid did not start.
No, that was the guy that none of us we went through a whole bunch of different lineups that we all thought because Cat was gone that Naz Reid would start.
Well, I thought I said he's not starting, but
No. We went through all the lineups and we were always Naz Reid was a guy that was always consistent. Like we thought he was going to play.
I think, by the way, I think he should start and like bench Rudy, but
no, I think Naz Reid should start and he has to start. And I think he will start eventually because this is not
instead of Randall.
Randall's going to start, but Naz Reid has to start. Why can't?
And if they're really having trouble, then I would just say start Naz Reid and bench Rudy and Randall. Honestly, let Naz Reid be the center and go smaller and longer.
I think you got to play one of them.
I mean, off the bench. I'm telling you, they should try it. I mean, they're going to probably end up finding out that 5-man lineup with Naz at center is going to be really potent for them. I don't know what it'd be like. I guess Naz, McDaniels, Ant, Dante, and then I don't know. I mean, they're a little bit thin. I mean, they were playing Ingles, excuse me. They have to find another rotational player.
Ingles is such a good player, but he just looks so old when he's playing now.
Yeah, he's not that. By the way, and Randall, like he started, but like all of a sudden we're in the middle of the second quarter. I'm like, wait, was he playing? Like he didn't have any impact on the game in the beginning. So Yeah,
But they gotta get used to it. You know, they gotta figure it
yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah. But we know that Randall's fit is a little bit difficult a lot of the time because he's so into holding the ball and like just trying to get in there. You know, he didn't even look great, like trying to muscle and get down low and get shots around the rim. Let's see, Randall ended up
He's also coming off injuries, right?
right. That's true. I mean, he ended up 5 for 10 in 35 minutes, 34 minutes, 16 points. So that's okay. He grabbed 9 rebounds, but at that point, like they were down by a lot. It got closer to the end, which in a meaningless part of the game. So it was, and then let's talk about Anthony Davis because there was no answer for him.
How
Much against him, but yeah, it was very, very strange how they were playing that.
do you think that JJ unlocked something with Anthony Davis? Because we didn't see this Anthony Davis all the time. I mean, he's obviously played great for long stretches, but to drop 36 in his first game and look this dominant, did JJ unlock something there?
Yeah, maybe, because and the other thing was LeBron was looking a little bit long in the tooth as well. I mean, he's in his 22nd season, so we shouldn't expect him to be amazing all the time. But there was moments there where he was looking like, he wasn't finishing well. And so there's more opportunities now for AD finally to like really take control of that offense. So that should really be something.
Also, I heard that Anthony Davis wasn't the biggest workout guy in the summer. And maybe just him being in the Olympics kept him in shape too. Maybe that was good for him.
Yeah. No, I mean, keeping him healthy is going to be a really big thing. Keeping him off the floor, and stop, landing on the floor so much is going to be big for them. So we'll have to keep our eye on that because that's the thing. It's like, what's the over under for AD's games played this year? What do you think it is?
Oh, probably 68.
It's funny. That's what I said for LeBron too. And that's probably all they need. If they can get to 65, 66, 68, then that's the chemistry they need to develop, whatever.
I thought you had the Vegas over under on you.
Yeah, it might be lower, if it's 68, that's probably the good number. And I would probably say it's a little bit lower than that for them, but we'll see. I mean, LeBron did they say that LeBron's not going to play back-to-backs? Someone's not playing back-to-backs. No.
Joel Embiid.
Right.
He said it himself.
LeBron might also be in that category. They won't make it public. And I don't blame him. The guy's 20, this guy's 40 years old.
I don't think you should say that, right? If you plan that, really.
I mean, I think we mentioned that before. It is kind of nice in some respects. If you want to fly in from, some faraway place to go see your favorite player, Joel Embiid, and you can look at the calendar now and realize, oh, he won't be playing in that game. You won't waste your money. But then again, for any star at this point, I wouldn't gamble my money if I had to pay a lot to get to somewhere to see him play. If it's the second of a back-to-back, I just wouldn't. It's too much of a risk, regardless.
Yep, TV went on.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit. So I'm worried about the Timberwolves. They made a gamble. They had a good thing going, and they had they had made a deep playoff run, and they seemed like they had stuff working together well. By throwing Cat back with Tibbs. I don't know the defense. I have a hard time seeing that relationship being good with Cat playing defense the way he plays. It's just his thing. Maybe they can come up with an adjustment, but we've already seen that movie before. Now, on the flip side with Randall, again, it might be a similar kind of weird fit in a way that I don't know how well. But we'll have to give him 10 games to see it.
Give him 20.
20? How about 15?
How often have we seen a team with like a pretty long stretch at the beginning and then they get it together eventually? It happens.
All right, 15.
All right, 15's fine.
And so we'll see, because if they're not getting it by then, I don't know. I mean, the season, the West, the whole thing.
We'll give the people week by week updates anyway, so it's all good.
If you're like 6 and 9 after 15, I mean, that's going to be a little bit rough. 5 and 10, forget it. 6 and 9, you might have a chance. If they have to be better than that, and then maybe, but we'll see. And the Lakers, again, really surprised me, but we'll have to. They need to prove it to me for another 10 games to really get that, if I can believe it. But listen, Austin Reeves looked really good last night for a lot of stretches. Russell's the guy, right? Like I just don't know how they're going to end up playing him starters minutes. I just feel like he's too inconsistent. And he had a couple of great passes. He really tantalizes you. He makes you feel like, God, this is the guy, and we're going to really ride him all the way to the title. And then he'll do things that you just shake your head, and you can't rely on him enough. So that's going to be a thing. But Dalton Knecht looked terrific.
Yeah, I mean, I got to bring up some old Dalton Knecht takes because I thought There was no reason he should have fell that far.
Yeah.
Actually, you know who could have drafted him? OKC could have drafted him. That would have been
Really?
interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a bunch of. I mean, he went like 18 or 19, so there was a bunch of teams that could have drafted him. But
I mean, it's the same BS where it's like, did he play 4 years in college?
yes, yeah, he's a JUCO guy.
Oh, wow. So
and then he transferred.
There's a stigma attached to guys like that for absolutely no reason, because they can come in right away and help you versus a one and done who probably needs a season or two.
It's a case by case basis. There's no right or wrong. Like it's really about that player. So.
Yeah, but the case by case is it's pretty consistent. The guys that play for 4 years in a decent program, are going to be seasoned. They're going to be good. They can help you right away generally. So they got to stop. They got to get over that. And so what if he's 21, 22? He's going to come in there and help you right away. So I mean, he made a pass. It's funny, they made a big deal about a pick and roll, a roll pass. I didn't think it was that impressive, but he hit him, and then they got a nice finish, maybe by Jackson Hayes for a dunk, I think. But he just looked. I mean, he had an open court. He's got vision. He's got change.
Three level scorer.
Yeah, he can shoot the three. So he looked really, really impressive.
So, the biggest
intimidated, like ready to take control out there and get his minutes. Now, how many minutes did he get? He
offensively,
played He went 2 for 4, 1 for 3 from three, a couple of assists. 15 minutes it has to be the absolute lowest he's going to get. He needs to get 18, 19, 20 minutes a game for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he had top 10 buzz. I mean, he went 18, 19 to the Lakers. So, yeah, I mean, he's a good player, 3-level scorer. Definitely I'd say an above average NBA athlete, good frame, gets his shot off the dribble or off the move. He's a really good player.
He's a solid player. So I expect him to get more minutes and rely on him more. Good, he's got good size too. So keep your eye on that. Anyhow, let's see here. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up because it's an early morning and we got to get our days going. I got to get this video out on the Celtics. So please, get your notifications turned on, and maybe turn them off on the off season, but it's time to turn them back on. Go watch the kind of stuff I do on that shooting. Is you're not going to see anybody else be able to break down jump shooting like that. I work with some guys in the NBA, so it's like there's whatever knowledge I have has been amassed through high level stuff. So go check that out, and I think you'll be able to really understand, and then keep your eye on Tatum. And we talk about Chet Holmgren for a second. We talk about Slow-Mo. So, and by the way, shout out to whoever worked with Kyle Anderson, because it's much better. They're getting back to closer to what he did when he shot really well out of college, and his second year with the Spurs. He shot pretty well. So they kind of gotten rid of some of that crazy double hitch he had at some point in his career. If whoever helped him with that.
I mean, if Kyle Anderson could really shoot, he'd be an all-star.
Wow, you're dropping fire early.
I mean, he's a really good basketball player.
And he's in a perfect situation right now because the offense that the Warriors are running is perfect for him. And he, picking it up really quickly. So, I mean, you got to to be an all-star in that conference at that position, I don't think is so easy.
Okay. All right. Well, this was a great show.
Yeah.
And we'll be back soon.
And thanks, Combo, for getting up with me early, and thanks to everyone out there. Great crowd, great audience, and we'll be back again every Monday. We're here, and then we'll probably sneak some other ones throughout the week. But so don't go anywhere. Check your notifications later on today for the Celtics breakdown, and don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Combo?
Yes, sir.